Blue team, fall out.
Spartans, welcome to Doc's Download. I am Doc. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for so much for being a part of this. All the love, all the support. It's great. I love it. I have another video that I've been scheming up. I've got a couple that I actually got in the works here. I just finished the Forerunner Saga. Just finished Silentium. It's so good. Oh man, I'm so excited to write the review on that book, and then kind of button up the trilogy there. I know there's Epitaph, but it's the saga is those three. So wow, super good. I can't even get ahead of myself there. We're not even talking about that today. We are talking about something completely different. We have the Halo Fest giveaway going on the channel. Typically, every video there will be a question that I add in there somewhere in the video, and then you'll answer it, and that will put you into the running. Technically one entry per video. I need to make a short for it. I keep forgetting, so that you can just see it on the channel. It's on my Forerunner video, all the rules and regulations per YouTube or whatever. Video today, we are going to be talking about the best of the best. Okay, there is no other Spartan class like the twos. So let's dive in, Spartans. Let's do this. All right, Spartans, we are going to start with a fan favorite, a team that people have been begging to come back. I talked about in my last video that they could show up in Halo 7. I think it would be a pretty good way to bring them into a mainline game instead of sitting behind the scenes of an RTS game. I love Halo Wars. Incredibly good games. They are great fun, great stories. So obviously we're going to be talking about Red Team first and foremost. They have been disconnected from the UNSC pipeline for quite a while now. They are with the UNSC Spirit of Fire, and this fire team consists of Jerome 092, Douglas 042, and Alice 130. Before we get any further, I do want to talk about Spartan fire teams for a second. They change and are variable a lot, especially early on after the Spartans were deployed. Many members would be on many different teams. Blue team had several members. Red team had a handful of members. All these teams, it was fluid. People were changing, going from team to team. Seems like a lot of times there was a core for those teams. So Red team was very core-centric on these three Spartans that we've talked about. But I just kind of wanted to get that out there just because we're going to talk about some where Kurt was on Blue team at one point and things like that. So there will be variables here, but at this point in the lore, there's not much variability. There is still, but very slight. It's nothing. I mean, there's no more Spartan 2s, obviously. So, or active, right? So, just wanted to kind of get that out of the way there. Red Team was deployed to a planet called Arcadia in 2531. They actually were deployed alongside Omega Team, who were a quick reaction force, if I'm not mistaken. They were I think Red Team kind of was as well, being sent planet to planet to try and at least stop the Covenant from completely annihilating everything and allowing some civilians to escape, scientists, supplies, ships, things like that. One thing here also that I'm going to note is very early on, Spartans were in Mark IV. When they see Harvest get destroyed, they go to Chai Seti 4 and get Mjolnir, their Mark IV. Initially didn't have shields, but by 2531, Red Team got a prototype shielding, which I believe was they went back and gave that to him. Originally, they did not have shielding at all, but they went back in time to give it to him for, I think, the Halo Wars games in the, after going back and being like, oh, they are going to need shielding at some point. Anyway, because they've been away from the UNSC for so long. So keep that in mind. They do have shielding, even though technically they shouldn't. But they had early prototype shielding, even though Mark V didn't come out for another 20 years from that point, where the shielding was intact and really good. It took us a long time, I guess, to reverse engineer Covenant shielding. Sorry, anyway, getting into the semantics. Their time defending the capital of Arcadia and running around the outskirts helping, doing a few various different things. They linked up with the UNSC Spirit of Fire, which is who we see in Halo Wars. Captain Cutter, Serena, their AI, the xenobiologist, Professor Anders, all working on Arcadia, gathering, Covenant tech, Forerunner tech, whatever they can find there. That leads them to then work with Captain Cutter even more, attacking Covenant outposts, defending prototype vehicles and weaponry like we see in the game, and then helping Professor Anders kind of almost as a security detail going around with her, but she ends up getting kidnapped by an Arbiter, the Arbiter at the time, Ripa Morimi, who is the Savage. If you want to know more about him, I do have a video about the Arbiters. It's pretty awesome. With this happening, Red Team decides to board the Spirit of Fire and jump into slipspace with them to chase down Anders and Ripa. They come out of slipspace and they are at a shield world, which would be full of Forerunner artifacts because it is a Forerunner constructed planet. The Prophet of Regret happened to be there, hoping to find a plethora of Forerunner ships that they would be able to use in their genocidal campaign against the humans. Obviously, the Spartans are going to let that happen. I did forget about Sergeant Forge, by the way, who should have been able to kill Ripa Morimi. Probably not, but whatever. After Red Team, Anders, Sergeant Forge deny the Prophet of Regret that fleet of Forerunner dreadnoughts, which would have been devastating to the UNSC and anybody that they would come across. They knew that they needed to destroy this shield world, which they called a trove, a treasure trove of Forerunner artifacts. How they did this is they used their damaged slipspace drive, their Shaw Fujikawa drive, and they nuked the planet. They obviously flew away. They still can move under their own power. They're just not able to now go into slipspace and travel around. Something that also did happen on Trove is they did run into the Flood, which obviously had its consequences. After they had gone up into kind of the orbit of Trove, after it had been destroyed, Serena, the ship's AI, awoke and knew that there was an infection pod on board. So she woke up Jerome and Anders after they got her back, and I believe this is where, maybe I can't quite remember. This is where we see Jerome with the chair, like smashing an infector pod, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a different time, but it's a classic. After they deal with that infestation in just the nick of time, they are sent back into cryo, and that is where they spent 28 years in cryo. 2531 to 2559. Long time, which is great for the Spartan 2s because now they're, chronologically pushing late 40s. But because of how cryosleep works, they are actually a lot younger than that. And somehow, some way, they are pulled through a slipspace portal while being adrift, and they wake up out of cryo above none other than Installation 00, the Ark. Which is insane. Obviously, they have no freaking clue what the Ark is. I can't imagine waking up after, being on a planet, chasing to a Forerunner shield world, finding the Flood, and then going to the Ark. I mean, what a crazy turn of events, especially after you take a long nap like that. After they were mysteriously transported, they received an encrypted UNSC message from the surface, which was the distress call. So, sure enough, what happens? Cutter sends down Red Team. Travel lightly, he says. And none other than Atriox is waiting to ambush them. We all know how that went. Not very good. Atriox does ambush, and he's a, tactful ambush master, tactician master kind of guy, so he is able to put the work in on red team, which is pretty unfortunate. They don't have their shields yet in this cutscene because that hadn't been retroactively fixed or patched, whatever you want to call it. So they are just a normal Mark IV there. But anyway, Douglas gets wrecked. You see his helmet get crushed, his shoulder get crushed, and so he kind of goes on to the reserves for a minute. Jerome and Alice, they escape just in the nick of time before Cutter sends down a bunch of Archer missiles. The Ark does its thing, right? It's going to throw all sorts of enemies at them. The Banished are there. They find out who the Banished are through an AI named Isabel that they find from that distress call. And Red Team is going to go ahead and do Spartan 2 things. They're going to asset denial. They're going to make sure that the Banished aren't getting forward or tech. And then Jerome and Isabel go up and destroy the Enduring Conviction, which is an incredibly cool cutscene. We see Jerome solo a Covenant carrier, and another incredibly cool cutscene. Just Deuce and elites taking on a pack of brutes by himself. It's cool. She starts the ventral beam, starts attacking the Ark, and that's when the Sentinels come up and help destroy it. Even after destroying that enemy flagship, they find out that there is another ring being made, and it is Installation 04's second replacement at this point, because we had Alpha Halo, Chief blew it up, we scoot to Halo 3, we watch it rising with that really cool cutscene with Chief Arbiter and Guilty Spark. When did you know? You know, that cutscene.
When did you know?
Just now, but I had my hopes. What will you do?
Light it.
Love that one. They see Installation 09 at this point, Alpha Halo's second replacement. Anders goes to the control room, stops the firing sequence, and it gets teleported through flip space, which then is confronted by a Guardian. We do last see Red Team on the Ark helping out a Spartan III Fireteam, the Ferrets and Beta Lopus. And hopefully we see him in Halo 7. But we'll see. I don't know. That's just my pipe dream. So, next fire team we're going to talk about is one that we mentioned previously with Red Team. We are going to be talking about Omega Team. They consisted of August 099, Robert 025, and Leon 011, which we do see them in Halo Wars 2 quite a bit. They are in Halo Wars 1. You see the 6 of that. You see 6 Spartans in there, and we only got names for 3. We'll mention the other 3 in a minute. Initially, let's just talk about it right now, whatever. The 3 other members are Riz, Kai, and Vanek from the whatever you call Halo TV show that came out. So they, end up getting reassigned to Silver Team, but I'm not going to, that's about as far as you're going to get for me about that. Anyways, Omega Team, they're the quick reaction team. Also that is sent to Arcadia to help human colonies and allow them to escape with civilians, military assets, whatever it may be, and buy time for UNSC to respond to attacks. They were on Arcadia with Red Team, help them defend the capital and defend the planet, and they end up getting separated from Red Team when they go onto the Spirit of Fire and teleport away. So they end up getting split up. Omega has dealt with some insurrectionists as well earlier in their deployment, and they were also a part of the Fall of Reach. All 6 members. And they all do survive, so defending the orbital defense generators, which is always a good thing. We want as many Spartan 2s alive as we can. And we last see them back actually on Arcadia in around 2560, so pretty much in the current timeline where they are stopping some deals between insurrectionists and ex-Covenant factions over rumble drugs, which are going to be it's a drug that allows the user to forego pain and have incredibly high tolerance to pain, but also be able to just keep going no matter what's kind of going on around them. And then the big thing they're trying to stop them from obtaining is a Scarab's focus beam. So that's the last time we see Omega Team. Next, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite fire teams, none other than Gray Team. We have Jai 006, we've got Adriana 111, and we've got Michael 120. The Gray Team is quite different from most of the fire teams and most of the Spartan 2s that we see. Typically, Spartan fire teams work together flawlessly, and they work better together rather than alone. They are fluid as water, seamless, and ultimately efficient. But Gray Team, they were different. They very early on were all a bunch of rebellious kids who wanted to escape and do their own thing. And Oni saw that, the people training them, Mendez, Halsey, saw this and wanted to work to their strengths. So they kind of put them together very early on, and they were trained accordingly to how they acted, and they became a intensely deep infiltration unit, and they were able to survive behind enemy lines for as long as needed with absolutely no support, no exfils, no resupplies, not even contact a lot of the time. They were extremely covert and specialized in major disruption of enemy forces. That was their MO. They're one of their first big operations that we see, besides a lot of the early stuff that all the Spartan 2s were part of, again, which I do skip because I'm sure I'll talk about it at some point, but in the video. They are sent to what is called the Rubble, and it is there was a planet that was destroyed, and this is kind of where everybody went to hide from the Covenant, because it wasn't a planet, it's a big asteroid system. Well, asteroid. It's like a giant asteroid connected to a bunch of smaller asteroids, but you can't quite tell from a distance. It looks like it's just like a cluster of asteroids when they're all actually connected by big tubes and wires, whatever. Having been briefed that some of the humans there hold some navigational data, which, again, goes against the Cole Protocol, the name of the book we're talking about. And they need to get that back ASAP, because if the Covenant get any navigational data to Earth, things are dire. Things are not going to be good. We see them go behind enemy lines where they uncover the plot of these humans and these Kigyar bartering slip space drives, weapons, different things. And of course, these insurrectionist humans think that they're gonna make a deal with the Covenant and be spared. How stupid can you get? Well, insurrectionists are pretty dumb. Little did the insurrectionists and these humans know that the Kigyar there were not just some offshoot faction ex-Covenant. They were fully a part of the Covenant, and the Prophet of Truth himself was telling these Kigyar what to do, whatever they had to do to get this navigational data. In this, the Spartans deal with a rampant AI, or an AI that's going rampant, who forces them to help her so that she helps them. They do get a hold of this navigational data before it falls in Covenant hands. Again, this is from the book Cole Protocol. It's a good book. Gray Team's parts are awesome. We love Gray Team. Some of the other stuff isn't as exciting to me, but Gray Team's rad, so it's okay. I'm sure I'll do a hey, I love this book book review at some point, but not this video. In 2551, they were being deployed to put out constant threats on Covenant figures. The UNSC wanted the Covenant to believe that they were under constant threat of assassination, whether it was high political figures, whether it was the hierarchs, the prophets, whether it was religious. They wanted to put the idea in the Covenant head that nobody was safe from these demons, these Spartans. They end up getting ultra deep behind enemy lines again, and they were not actually present during the fall of Reach because they were too far into space to realize and get back in enough time, because we know Reach fell within a few days. This is where Grey Team gets, if you would like to say, nuclear. In 2552, they were sent on an operation called Operation Sunspear. They were tasked with eliminating as many Sangeli naval commanders as they could find who were responsible for campaigns led against humans, who were responsible for the glassings of countless billions of humans. They were instructed to eliminate as many as possible. During this op, they got a message from UNSC Command that the Covenant had found the Sol System, which is our home system where Earth lies. And condition Endgame gets initiated, right? Endgame, it's anything we can do to pull them back, stop them, kill as many as possible before they kill all of us. They were not able to contact UNSC forces after that, and they were trying to get to Sangelios, although it was too defended, too hard to find, and they found another fully inhabited planet called Glyke. And in sometime in December 2552, which was after the war had ended, and there was a treaty with the Swords, Arbiter, UNSC, the Covenant had been splintered and destroyed. Grey Team set off what is called a Nova Bomb. This Nova Bomb completely obliterates this planet of Glyke, splitting it, destroying it, killing billions of Sangeli. Their Prowler being heavily damaged from the blast and flying pieces of debris, they needed to escape in their Bumblebee, which is an escape craft that we see like Chief flies down in on Alpha Halo. They put their cryo in the Bumblebee and launch it, and for nearly 6 years they floated in cryo after the fact, knowing what they had done, and were picked up again about 6 years later by a Sangeli fleet master whose name was Raja Kasan, I believe. This leads into another book that Grey Team is a part of called Envoy. Another book that I'd love to do a review on at the channel at some point. I am going to go over just some of the brief stuff. Again, not a review video. This Sangeli fleet master believed that they were the cause of his homeworld's destruction, Glyke. The UNSC, again, had made a treaty with the Sword of Sangelios and a lot of the Ex-Covenant. Obviously, there's Ex-Covenant. They're still evil. Think the Great Journey is still a real thing. Whatever. And the UNSC had been working with this specific fleet master, and so there's a human on board, and she ends up hearing about something. There's something down in the storage of this place, and she finds that it's 3 Spartans in cryo. She releases them. He's not happy about this. He calls them the Demon 3. He knows that they are the ones who destroyed his home planet. They make it back in their Bumblebee, fly down to the planet they're right over called Caro, which is a human and Sangeli occupied planet. Joint occupation zone is what they call it, where this is going on. So there's a lot of tense moments, some extremely cool moments in this book. I will 100% do a deep dive into this video, or into that book at some point. It was a great one. I really loved reading through it, and again, hearing Grey Team. After some of the events on Caro, which are worth, reading and getting into the Sharkoi. Yeah. They got sort of blacklisted. A lot of people thought they were war criminals, and they were not stoked. They didn't think they should be operational whatsoever. They should be discharged, step down, no longer be operational. And, of course, they're Spartan 2, so they're like, well, we're not just civilians. Like, we're not just going to freaking step down from being the best of the best. And they're given an option. Join Oni and become their personal death squad and do whatever they need them to do for whatever reason at any time, or be discharged. So obviously the Spartan 2s took the option of continuing to be Spartan 2s. Their Mjolnir got updated because they had been also rocking some of the older stuff. I don't even know if they were in Mark 5. They could have still been in Mark 4 at that point if they missed the Fall of Reach, which means, you know, I don't know if they were there when they all got the Mark 5 upgrade. They were integrated into an interspecies team, so they were now working with Sangheili, Ungoi, X-Covenant, that was set up by the Arbiter and some Oni people, which is pretty sweet, honestly. There's a grunt named Stolt. I don't actually want to talk about that right now, but because, again, this leads us into another book called Empty Throne, which is one of the best books in the Halo series. We see them on the last see them on the planet of Boundary, and they are after the Lithos, which is a gateway to the domain, the precursor structure that the Forerunners' entire civilization was based off of. So, billions of years of access in, from what I just read, Silentium, maybe tens of billions, hundreds of billions of years of access, or knowledge and information. And the domain is a repository of information, again, used by the Forerunners, containing untold amounts of info, culture, records from unfathomable amounts of time. Clearly, a lot of other ex-Covenant factions are trying to get their hands on a Lithos so that they can enter the domain as well. And of course, the UNSC wanted access to it. And it's just one of those books that, holy crap, it is a incredibly good book, not for the faint of heart, and that is actually the last time that we see Grey Team. But again, maybe we need to see him in Halo 7. Halo Studios, listen. Please. Oh, anyway. Alright, Spartans, here is your weekend pass giveaway question. Which Spartan 2 was the leader of Red Team during the Fall of Reach? Good luck, Spartans. And last but certainly not least, we are going to talk about the legendary Blue Team, comprised of none other than Master Chief himself, John 117. We have Fred 104, Kelly 087, and Linda 058. Among other Spartans, their track list is extensive, and they have participated in hundreds of combat engagements since they were activated, which we know most Spartan Fireteams were around 25, maybe 25, 26. Obviously, I'm not going to go over 200 plus engagements, right? We're going to go over some here and there, and I'll probably talk about stuff too much and go into little side rants and details, whatever. No one, no faction, no species was ever safe from Blue Team. They've captured leaders of insurrections, decimated untold numbers of Covenant forces, and even faced off against Forerunners, which not many people say they can do, right? I mean, Sentinels don't count. I mean, I guess they're technically Forerunner, but a flesh and blood Forerunner. They were a part of Operation Silent Storm, which every Spartan 2 practically was. So this is one of those operations where I didn't want to talk about it 4 or 7 or 10 times or whatever, so I'll talk about it a little bit about it here. And they end up being compromised by a secretly insurrectionist nav officer who sent out a transmission while they're trying to board a Covenant vessel, almost gets them killed. They've detonated what the hell was that? What I was even trying to say. They've detonated nukes to destroy Covenant corvettes, attempting to steal Yonosi prowlers on the icy moon of Seoba. Again, Silent Storm is a book. Another book, again, I'll do a review on at some point. I just read it within the last few months, so we'll see if I read it that quickly again. A lot of books going on, but that is not a problem. Some people find that as a problem, and I get the argument. I can't even go into it. That's a video for another time. They were also part of Ocean Breaker, which took place on Sigma Octanus 4, which is another book, Fall of Reach, where they go. The Covenant are not destroying the planet, just killing off a lot of people, and they're finding artifacts in a museum, and so they send a bunch of Spartan fire teams down there. And we kind of know how that ends up going. They do get the information and the artifact, and a few other things, fun things happen. Fall of Reach is the true story of Reach, by the way. Not whatever video game came out. That was a joke. Maybe I'll do a review on the true Fall of Reach, not whatever BS came out a handful of years ago. Not that it's a bad game or anything, whatever. They also have destroyed a Covenant, I don't even want to call it a super carrier, ultra massive carrier, called the Unyielding Elephant, or Unyielding Hierophant. Almost 19 miles long, 6 miles wide, and 2 miles tall. It like consists of these two big, like, bloop, bloop, and there's like some bridging in the middle. It's pretty insane. It kind of shows you what Spartan 2s can do with just a handful of them being able to take on such insane Covenant technology. Obviously, there's a point, where Chief goes off and has to do Master Chief type things. He goes off in the Ann Amberclad to chase Regret on Earth, and Blue Team actually stays on Earth to defend it. Blue Team obviously didn't just sit around to do nothing. While Chief is away, they were actually constantly working and clearing out remaining Covenant forces. They did come back together again at one point, and they were deployed to Gamma Halo, where, in the unfortunate timing, they found Black Team. The bodies of Black Team and Promethean Knights awaited them. They encountered the Erdidact, and with the help of the Monitor on Gamma Halo, they're able to defeat the Erdidact, and he ends up getting composed and digitized. We end up having the events of Halo 5. They chase down Cortana, being trapped in a cryptum, being freed, making their way to the Infinity, and leading up to the events of Halo Infinite. Via an audio log, Chief is actually sent to deploy the weapon alone when it doesn't seem like he was supposed to initially, but then Lasky sends the rest of Blue Team on a classified mission. Where they are, we have no idea. It sounds like maybe Halsey was bummed because she had a plan for Blue Team, but Lasky ended up sending them away beforehand. And even in the book Rubicon Protocol, Spartan Horvath talks about him seeing Blue Team on Infinity, but he doesn't say whether it was during the attack, after the attack, or, before, maybe a couple weeks before. So, again, that is to not talk about Blue Team forever, which I didn't talk about them as long as some of the other Spartan fire teams, but they go back to Reach at some point. They get some frozen brains of Dr. Halsey. They're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And we just love Spartan 2s. They're the best. And it's not even close. And I can't wait to make that video too. And just piss some people off. But that is kind of the brief history and whereabouts of Blue Team. We obviously know where Chief is, but yeah, Blue Team. I did say I wanted to do some honorable mentions. I'm going to bust through these really quick, as fast as I can. First team we're going to talk about, like I just kind of brought up, is Black Team. They were super unconventional, kind of that skunk works, unconventional tactics, warfare. They were a little different from the other Spartan 2 fire teams as well. It was comprised of Margaret 053, Roma 143, and Otto 031, and Victor 101, sorry. They reported directly to Oni. They were given Mjolnir Black, again, which was like a Skunk Works version of Mjolnir, and it was similar to Mark 6 before its actual release, so it had a few of the things that Mark 6 had before other Spartans had it, and even kind of a while before they had it. At one point, they were fighting on a planet called Verge, which was like stopping it had a Covenant mining facility. They befriend a Yanmei, and who like kind of pretends to be their friend, and it leads them into the bowels of this planet and these tunnels and these mining tunnels, and it tries to trick them into releasing an entire swarm that is under captivity from the Covenant there. They end up blowing that shiz up and getting out of there. They were sent to Installation 03, which is Gamma Halo, and they were a security for a science team there, and they noticed some items falling from slip space, and one crashed nearby, so they went and checked it out, and it was the Didact, the Didact himself, unconscious. It was after his fight with Master Chief in Halo 4. Unfortunately, they had no idea who the Didact was or what he was, and when he awoke, he saw more Spartans and brutally killed them on the spot. So, rip Black Team. The next team that's going to get a little bit of a honorable mention, some love, is Gold Team. They were around in 25-26, comprised of Joshua 029, Daisy 023, and one of the best, Naomi 010, and then Grace, bless her heart, 093. The only surviving Spartan from this fire team is going to be Naomi. They all served with the other Spartans in their respective missions, Silent Storm, Radiant Arrow, and some of those others. Joshua fell while defending Reach. Grace was killed actually during First Strike with Blue Team. She was a part of Blue Team at that point. And then Daisy had fallen while defending another human colony. And the last, but certainly not least, of the honorable mentions is going to be Green Team. And they were led by one of the best, who we love for reasons, but I wish he had stayed a Spartan 2 and with the Spartan 2s, but he went to, whatever. Kurt 051, along with Solomon 069, Malcolm 059, and Anton 044. Again, they all served in the operations spoken for above, up all the way until Reach. We know that Kurt was killed on the Shield World Onyx, defending Blue Team and nuking the inner core of the planet. Solomon fell during an operation called Warm Blanket. Malcolm during the fall of Reach, and Anton during the fall of Reach as well. Use his hand. Salute you, Spartans. Well, Spartans, we did it. We have gone through all the active fire teams, their whereabouts, a little bit of the brief history, and even some honorable mentions of some fire teams who are gone and are MIA, gave their all as they were trained to do. Spartan 2s are the best. It's not even a debate. It's not even close. Again, for the love of the game, thank you so much for all the support, all the love. I have a few more videos coming. Obviously, Campaign Evolves coming, so I'm sure I'll do some lore videos about that. I haven't bought it yet. I might do the premium edition so I can play it, a week early, but we'll see. We'll have a Silentium review probably pretty soon on the channel. Oh my gosh, you guys, these books are so good. I was devastated to finish that book yesterday. Again, let me know, favorite fire teams, favorite Spartan 2s, because there's some insanely cool ones who have done some very unique things, and they all have their own cool quirks, right? They, Kurt had his sixth sense. Fred was just a dog all around. Chief with his luck. Kelly fast. Linda's the crack shot. I mean, there's so many cool Spartans here that compromise all of these teams. But again, thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the support. Don't forget to answer the question. for the Halo Fest weekend pass giveaway. We can hang out. You'll get some merch from me, all sorts of cool stuff like that. Or you don't have to hang out with me, whatever. You can just go hang out with all the other Halo people. But again, thank you so much for all the love, all the support. See you later, Spartans.